For hundreds of years, people from all walks of life have reported sightings of a large hairy animal walking on 2 feet. The scientific community has dismissed these sightings as hoaxes, hallucinations, or misidentified bears. But is there another option? Is it possible that there is an ape, the largest of the great apes, unrecognized and unclassified by modern science, roaming the forest of North America? Please join us as we seek the answer to this compelling question. You have arrived at the intersection of myth and science, of fact and folklore. You have arrived at Bigfoot Crossing.
Hey, good afternoon, fellow babies. Happy Monday, and welcome to Bigfoot Crossing. I am Michael Willie, and we appreciate so much your being here. Bigfoot Crossing sponsored by the good folks at thinkbeforeyoudrink.com. When you want the best water that you'll ever have, go to thinkbeforeyoudrink.com. Daryl, how are you today?
I'm all right. Thirsty for Bigfoot knowledge and Kangen water.
Well, you know, we're going to have at least one of those today. I need to bring you some Kangen water.
Hey, it's been Kangen water weather, hasn't it?
It has. Whew. It has. I tell you what, when it's getting as hot as it is, you need something that's going to quench your thirst but not weigh you down, and that's what Kangen water does.
Well, Michael, I understand you got a big show today. We're going to be making a call here in a few minutes.
Yes, we are. We're going to have an interview here in just a few minutes with the founder of the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization. And we're looking forward to that. And next Monday, we're going to have an interview with a representative of the East Tennessee Bigfoot Research Organization. And so we're lining up some good interviews for folks. I hope y'all can tune in to today and to next week also. And just want to do some quick housekeeping, and then we'll get on with our call. We are starting today going to go to a 30-minute format for the show rather than an hour. It makes it easier on me to get back to work, and it an hour format interferes with Daryl's afternoon nap, and so he's
Sure.
cranky if he doesn't get his sleep
Sure,
out.
blame it on me. You're right, I do need my afternoon rest, but, I'm an avid program participant and listener.
Oh, no, I never said you weren't. Never
but you're right,
suggested.
I do need my beauty rest.
But no, we are going to go to a 30-minute format. It makes it easier on me. I do have a job that I've got to keep, and so I can get back to downtown Nashville. You know, I drive out from downtown Nashville out here, and then drive back, and so I think and the 30-minute format helps us be more streamlined. That's the word Daryl used earlier.
Because sometimes, Michael, sometimes you're like Bigfoot, you ramble.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I get off on these little tangents and I chase squirrels. So we're going to try to keep that to a minimum. And let's go ahead and see if we can get our guest on the phone today. And,
all righty. I'll give him Lily. Was it Lily Tomlin? You said I'll give him a ringy ding.
I had forgotten about that.
What was her name? She was the phone company lady.
Yes, and I cannot remember.
Wow, we're getting a little dementia in our old age.
That is plumbing the depths of my memory. Whew. And it's not looking good.
I'm hoping we paid the phone bill this month.
Well, let's hope so.
Trying to get a dial tone.
Uh-oh.
So this gentleman we're going to be talking to, he is a researcher.
He is the founder of the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization, and agreed to do this on short notice. I was I called him yesterday to see if we could do an interview, and he said, "Well, you want to do it tomorrow?" And I was like, "Well, sure, that'd be great."
So it fell together pretty quickly.
It just came together just perfectly. I'm really looking forward to talking to him.
I think we're ringing him now.
Okay, well, good. So we did pay the bill then.
We have paid our phone bill this month, and we'll see if we can reach Mr. Raymond today. And Mr. Raymond, we're calling from the Bigfoot Crossing Show. Can you speak with Mr. Michael Willey this afternoon? Okay, all righty. Well, we're going to connect you. So, Michael, here we go.
Charlie?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Charlie, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for being on the show today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Charlie Raymond, and Charlie is the founder of the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization. Now, Charlie, how long ago did you start the organization?
I started it in 1997. And prior to that, I was doing my own personal investigations in Kentucky.
Okay. How long have you been investigating?
I've been doing it for just over 2 decades.
Wow. What prompted you to start investigating?
You know, one thing is I'm a nature lover. Animal lover, tree hugger, the whole deal. And I knew these things existed, and so I wanted to try to document as many reports as possible to establish laws in Kentucky to protect them and their habitat.
Okay, that's great. That is great. And have you ever seen one? Have you had a Bigfoot experience yourself?
I have seen them through a thermal imager at night.
Wow. And
I have been near them multiple times, but I've never had a daylight sighting.
Okay. Yeah, that's terrific to have seen one. Just even to see one through the night vision. That is fabulous. How did that come about, if you don't mind me asking?
Sure. Actually, that was in Tennessee. It wasn't even in Kentucky.
Oh, well, that's okay. Whereabouts in Tennessee?
Yeah. I cannot disclose the exact location because I was on a BFRO expedition.
Oh, okay. Well, you can tell me. I won't tell anybody else. No, I'm just kidding. Wow. So, and so you saw it through the FLIR, I guess.
Yeah, and I'll share that story real quick. It's a known, well, not everybody knows, but researchers know of this location due to all the encounters. So we had gone on this expedition, and basically, long story short, we were hiking late at night, and we jumped something big to our right, which startled us, so we turned, and one of the gentlemen in my group had a thermal imager, and he goes, "I've got it on thermal."
Wow.
So we're watching it, taking turns watching it, and then afterwards we reviewed the video, and it's belly crawling. It's not walking. It's down on its belly crawling, and you do not see a muzzle like if you were to see a deer belly crawl or a bear maybe might belly crawl.
Right.
There's no muzzle. It's a round head, long arms. You can see the rear foot, and we believe we jumped 1 or 2 juveniles. And I think what happened was we startled them. They started to run, and they go, "Oh crap! We got to get low and be quiet." So then they got low, and we couldn't hear them as they were belly crawling. And the reason I say juveniles, an adult Sasquatch is too smart. It wouldn't move. It would just stay behind a tree and let us walk by.
Right.
So that's why we think these were juveniles.
Interesting.
Plus, we took measurements, and they weren't that large, but not much larger than a human. And if you rule out, you think about it, if you rule out bear, deer, everything else would have ran away. We filmed it for 7 minutes.
Wow. That's tremendous. And
Yeah.
it's so you had one of the thermals that was also hooked up to like a camcorder or something, I guess.
No, this one actually recorded, itself. And
right.
all
Well,
the
that's
new
what I meant.
thermals
Yeah.
do that. They will record on the device.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, are you all associated with the BFRO?
No, we are. We're just good friends with the BFRO and a lot of the researchers in the BFRO.
Okay. That's cool. Well, now, tell me some of the more interesting sightings that you've investigated.
Okay, I'll tell you some unique ones. One of them was in Ohio County, Kentucky, which is not far from the border there from you. We've had a lot of reports in Ohio County, and this elderly lady who'd never believed in Bigfoot prior was driving late one winter evening down a little dirt road, and she comes to a stop, and there's this large animal laying in the road. And she pulls right up to it, and she's watching it, and it was a Bigfoot curled up in the fetal position, laying in the road with its back to her, and she just sat there with her headlights on it, and she said the creature stood straight up without using its arms, which she thought was pretty amazing, and it turned and when it walked off the road, it pivoted at its hip, like it did not turn its head. Just like Patty in the Patterson footage,
right.
She turns at her hip because of the large trapezius muscles that these creatures possess. They can't really turn their necks. So it pivoted at the hip, and she said it was like gliding. It seemed like it was gliding on skates. It was so smooth and quick. And what's amazing about that story, it's very unique. And I told Don Neal, an investigator on my team, I said, Google some other stories like that, because I've never heard of one laying in the road like that.
No, neither
and
have
sure
I.
enough, he pulled up about a dozen more stories of a Bigfoot laying in the road like that.
Wow. I had no idea. It just curled up in a ball.
I didn't either.
Was it asleep, do you reckon, or was it just...
I'm sorry, I missed that.
I said, do you think it was asleep, or did it... What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, my hunch is the road was warmer, retained some of the heat. And,
right.
It's a real country dirt road, not traveled much, so it probably thought it was safe to lay there and just lay on the warm surface. What was interesting about her observation is it stood up using only its legs, and that's similar to the account of the Osserman story of the gentleman who was picked up in his sleeping bag and he was carried off by a Bigfoot, and
right.
He actually lived with the Bigfoots for like a couple of days before he could escape.
Right.
And during his stay, he observed the Bigfoot sitting and standing straight up using those powerful legs and not using their arms. And that's kind of what she said, and she had no idea about that story.
That's intriguing. I had forgotten about that detail of the Albert Ostman story, but that's absolutely right. That's what he said, and she had no idea that. So she was actually connecting her sighting with the Albert Ostman story. That's fascinating.
Well, we connected it. She had no idea about that story.
Yes.
She'd never heard about that story.
Exactly.
But we as researchers connected it, and when she said it pivoted at its hip to turn. Of course, we connected that
to the Patterson film. Yes.
Other Bigfoot encounters.
Exactly. Wow. Isn't it amazing how people who aren't immersed in the details of sightings will produce evidence that shows how closely connected they are?
Yes.
It's amazing.
That's what I love about it. Even though I've never had a daylight sighting, I live vicariously through these witnesses.
Exactly. I know what you mean. That's fabulous. That is a fabulous story. Well, what else?
I got another quick one that's pretty unique. In Anderson County, it's central Kentucky. We have lots of reports there. And in the 1960s, a witness, Mr. Tyndall is his last name, he witnessed a Bigfoot walk out of the tree line and raise its hand up like as if to say hi, and then turned and walked away. And the locals and himself, a couple people witnessed it at the time, and so they nicknamed it the Cedar Brook Howdy, as in Mr. Howdy, so to speak. But right now we call him Mr. Howdy. But so that was a documented, encounter in the 60s. And then in 2011, Jack Smart with the BFRO took a report from two young girls who just moved here from Florida, and they had no idea about Bigfoots in Kentucky or any of the stories. And
Right.
they told Jack they witnessed this Bigfoot walk out of the tree line and raise its right hand and then lower its hand and walk back in the tree line.
Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah, so we nicknamed him Mr. Howdy.
That's a great name. It fits.
Yeah.
That is fabulous. Wow.
Because they probably, most likely, they watch the locals and and Native Americans, and here in Kentucky, I don't know about Tennessee, I'm pretty sure, but all the locals in these very rural areas, when you drive down the street, everybody's waving.
Everybody
People
waves.
You don't even know will just wave to you.
That's exactly right. Daryl lives out in the country. Everybody waves out there, don't they?
Without fail, almost.
Yeah. So yeah. So they mimic that behavior. Isn't that that's amazing? That is a great story. What? We got lots of time. You got any more?
Okay, like some stories. Let me think of. I'll tell you a quick one that happened over here by Mammoth Cave.
Ooh.
A bunch of Girl Scouts, their troop leaders actually contacted me from Ohio, and they were coming down here to visit Mammoth Cave, and they asked if I would take them squatching, and I said, sure, I'd love to. So we arranged a night, and I picked an area in Mammoth Cave that was safe. It's a boardwalk that goes about a mile around this pond, and it's only about 2 feet off the ground. I figured that's a great place to go. It's safe. I got a dozen little, teenage girls that are all giddy and excited, and they're troop moms, and all of them skeptics. The moms were all skeptics, but they went along just because of their daughters. And we met at a restaurant, and we sat in the back, and I did a presentation on the different Bigfoot behaviors and how we research and et cetera. And I showed them some audio and video, and got them all excited about it. And so then we drove to the location, and just so you know, I've taken many reports out in Mammoth Cave. Okay. And one of the reports actually was a park worker went to check on the boardwalk when they were constructing it, and his ATV lights hit a bear, which he thought it was a bear. And he said all of a sudden the bear stood up on two legs and ran off. So I know there's a history of sightings there as well. So we drove to the boardwalk. We parked our cars. We walked around the boardwalk, and we don't use flashlights, as you know. We had a couple of red headlamps on. And I told the girls, one of the best tactics to use to encounter a Bigfoot is to entice them, because they're very curious creatures. So any kind of laughter and anything a little bit different would probably bring them in. So I said it's okay if we talk and we laugh, and so we did. We laughed, we told jokes, and I let each girl do a tree knock, and I let them try doing howls, and we were laughing at the howls, and we went around the boardwalk for 45 minutes, okay, to the other side. Mm-hmm. And we got to the other side. I said, okay, let's try this. I gave the bat to one of the girls. I said, do 10 distress knocks. Those are fast knocks. And I believe that's like a warning type of call, so to speak. So she did 10 fast ones. And I'm always amazed when we get reactions, because most of the time you do not get reactions. So she did the 10 fast knocks, and lo and behold, from the other side of the boardwalk, we get a knock and a whistle.
Oh, wow.
And first thing I said, I wanted to see if they heard. I go, what did you guys just hear? And they go, I heard a knock and a whistle. I go, yep, I heard a knock and a whistle too. I go, okay, we're going to walk over there. And they all go, no, just don't go there. And I said, no, it's okay. So I walked around them, and again, I have a red headlamp on. 2 or 3 of the girls had red headlamps on, maybe one or two of the mothers, no flashlights. And we walk around the boardwalk, which is kind of curves and goes between these big trees, and it meanders over there. And we get all the way to that spot, and we're standing there. And at that time, one of the moms says, I think I see eye shine towards the parking lot area that way. I go, okay, let me just check it out. So I leave the group. I walk, 10 yards. I don't see anything at all. So I walk back to the group, and as soon as I approach the group, something on the boardwalk, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 yards, just where we had come from, jumped on the boardwalk. And everybody screamed. And one of the moms, this is funny because it was so loud, I mean, it shook the boardwalk, and you knew the size of this thing was immense by the sound of it. It was so loud. I walked around and I took a flashlight out then for the safety. I couldn't see because it meanders through the trees, so you can't really see far.
Right.
And everybody's saying, let's go. The funniest thing is, one of the mothers, as soon as this happened, I remember this, she immediately started walking away from the group towards the parking lot and never grabbed her daughter.
Every woman for herself.
Exactly. It's funny how that fight or flight kicks in. So we all went back to the parking lot. I said, listen, everybody's excited. I'm excited. I said, I really don't think anything is going to happen. But I told you, because of the laughter, and I think a curious Bigfoot came in, okay, when we got to the other side and we did those 10 fast distress knocks, like help, I need help type thing.
Right.
I think we fooled that Bigfoot. It thought it was another Squatch on the other side of us, opposite of us, and it was saying, hey, I'm over here if you need me, but, by giving us a whistle and a knock.
Right.
And then as we walked by him, which I'm guessing this thing, 800 to 1,000 pounds. I weigh 250. And the next day, I went back to look for evidence, and I got on there's a little bench there, and I got on the bench. I jumped off the bench onto this. It's recycled plastic, the boardwalk. It's not wood. It's actually that recycled plastic that they use.
Yep.
So it's really hard.
The fake
and
wood.
You couldn't even hear my jump, and I weigh 250.
Oh, wow. Wow, so it had some heft to it. That's amazing, and y'all were that close to it. That's
yeah. I get every time I go back, I get goosebumps when I walk through there because I think this thing must have been standing right behind one of these large trees. I walked right by him.
Yeah, because you walked 10 yards out, didn't you? And then turned around and came back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were
I mean,
very
I walked
close.
right by him, and he was, and Dr. Jeff Meldrum did a 3D replica of a skeleton for the History Channel, and the 3D skeleton was 8.5 feet tall, and they estimate that an 8.5 foot tall Bigfoot would weigh 1,000 pounds.
Yeah. And that's 8.5 foot tall. That's a, I'm what am I? I'm about 5'5". I'm going to get a crook in my neck looking up 8.5 foot. That's a huge creature.
Right.
That is.
You look at its legs, you think it's a tree. You're looking at its legs.
Yeah. Look at that tree. Oh wait, that tree's got fur on it. Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any footprint casts from your investigations?
I've got a few casts, but they're not your Pacific Northwest, perfect casts with toes.
Right.
Down in Kentucky, the ground here is very dense and a lot of vegetation. It's really hard to find, the perfect footprint.
Right. That's one. I was watching Finding Bigfoot the other night, and Cliff Barrickman said, if you can get a good footprint cast, you've really done something, because they're just not that easy to come by. But
I agree, and a lot of times you can get them. You look at the depressions in the ground, and if you sit down there and you pull out the bark and some of the leaf litter, you can actually get a better print by pulling out some of the leaf litter and then casting it.
And then that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Well, now, where are you located at?
I live in Louisville, Kentucky. And we also have another little summer home, so to speak, in Summershade, Kentucky, near Mammoth Cave.
Okay. Do you ever get out towards West Kentucky to investigate?
Yes, I've been over there. I think Pikeville, Paintsville, down there by Harlan, Kentucky.
Okay.
I think that's down towards the border.
Okay. Yeah, I grew up.
Cumberland County.
I finished up my undergrad degree at Murray State in Murray, Kentucky, and of course, Land Between the Lakes is right there, and I understand there's quite a few sightings in the LBL area sometimes, or at least a history of them. I didn't know if you'd had.
Yeah, there's a history. The most famous encounter was, and I'm not saying this was a Bigfoot. It's just speculation that some researchers attributed it to an angry Bigfoot that killed. I think it killed a family of 3 maybe and destroyed their camper.
Oh my word! I don't know that I've heard of that one.
Yeah, the nickname is the Beast of LBL.
Okay.
And it could have been a dog man. It could have been a bear. It could have been a cougar. We don't know, but some researchers, Bigfoot researchers, nicknamed it the Beast of LBL, and I just don't know about that. And 2 decades of doing research, and I've got, without exaggeration, over 300 reports in 2 decades. I've never taken an attack on a person.
Right. Yeah, John Green always called them gentle giants. You never hear of them hurting anybody. Agree. Yeah, that's.
I totally agree with that. Now, as you know, if you get too close, they'll bluff charge and they'll get you out of there.
Sure. They'll do what they got to do but that fight or flight takes over pretty quickly when you're getting a bluff charge, and just like that woman heading for the parking lot without her daughter, she the flight mechanism takes charge. But
exactly, and I'll tell you this: I've been close to him many times at night, and every time I'm like, man, we should have walked in towards them. We should have surrounded them and went in, but we never do. That fight or flight kicks in, and a little voice in your head says, "No, we need to leave," and we leave.
Yeah.
But there's so many armchair researchers out there who don't go out in the woods, and they criticize us for not going in or not getting closer and not getting a picture. So you have no idea. Until you're out there, until you do this, you have no idea. To experience it.
Exactly, and it's easy to be that armchair quarterback, but it's another thing to be out there in the dark with a creature that may outweigh you by 1,000 pounds or more, isn't exactly happy you're in the area. So it's a
exactly. Yep, exactly.
Totally different. And so I commend you for what you've done and for the work that you're doing. If folks have do you investigate down into the Tennessee area? Do you come down into Tennessee much, or is it just strictly Kentucky reports?
Yes, I've done Tennessee quite a few times over by Standing Stone.
Okay.
That's a hot area. A lot of reports from Standing Stone.
Right.
I've done some other areas.
Okay.
Typically, if I receive a report from Tennessee, I have a good friend and researcher, Joe Blue. Have you heard of him?
Joe Billieu, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Joe was on our show.
I defer any reports I get to him.
Okay. Yeah, he was on our show a few weeks ago. Great guy. I'd love to go out with his scout troop sometime and do some Bigfooting with him. That would be a great thing to do. I gotta call him and see if I can wrangle an invitation.
Trust me, he would love it, and he's got the biggest heart. He'll do anything for anybody, and he'd love to show off his research area.
Oh, I'd love it.
And I think they filmed him, and he's going to come up. He's going to be on Finding Bigfoot, I think, the next season.
Yeah, we talked about that, and I guess it's on the upcoming season. Then I guess that's going to start this fall sometime. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I am looking forward to seeing that.
Me too. I'm very, very happy for him.
Yeah, he seems like just a terrific guy. And, well, Charlie, we are running out of time, and I really appreciate so much you talking to us today. And if you have a Bigfoot sighting, folks, you can go to, the website is KentuckyBigfoot.com, all spelled out, KentuckyBigfoot.com. And Charlie, thank you so much again for being with us here today on Bigfoot Crossing.
Oh, you're welcome. And I also have a public expedition planned for October, and I have a few spots left. So if anybody's interested in attending our public expedition, just contact me through my website.
Okay, and that's what are the dates for that?
That's October 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th.
Okay, is that a long weekend or?
Yeah, it's a long weekend, yes.
Okay. All right, folks, you've heard that right here on Bigfoot Crossing. If you're interested in going on a Kentucky Bigfoot expedition, contact Charlie at KentuckyBigfoot.com. And I may be contacting you, Charlie. I got to look at my calendar.
Okay. Well, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And again, thanks so much for being here with us on Bigfoot Crossing today.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, you have a great day now.
All right, interesting chat there.
Yes, it was.
Wow.
What a great interview. He had some great stories.
Cool stories, yeah.
And so we appreciate Charlie coming on. And next week we will have Matt Sieber of the East Tennessee Bigfoot Organization. And we'll look forward to hearing him as well. And thank you all so much for being with us today here at Bigfoot Crossing. We look forward to next week.
We hope you have enjoyed your visit with us here at Bigfoot Crossing. The internet home for Bigfoot Crossing can be found at www.bigfootcrossing.net. Michael Willey's website, Bigfoot in Tennessee, can be found at www.tnbigfoot.net. Please follow us on Facebook at Bigfoot Tennessee. You can also follow Michael Willey on Twitter. His handle is at Michael B. Willey. Each episode of Bigfoot Crossing is posted to the Bigfoot Crossing YouTube channel. Please subscribe so you can be notified when new episodes are posted. Your feedback is always welcome. Please email questions and comments to tnsasquatch@gmail.com. Be sure to let us know which episode you have a question or comment about. Thanks for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you next time right here at Bigfoot Crossing.